All right, so this exercise 5, which is the revolve, we're going to talk about how to put it on paper space, or how to put it on paper to create a drawing, and how to get this section view. Okay. So obviously the first thing that you want to do is you want to have your model, and with your part model you want to make sure that you save it. You want to go through the save as process or the save process. Because I already have this saved, that's why it's giving me a couple of those little heads up displays. But basically my file name for this is going to be exercise 5. My description is going to be the revolve, and I'm going to keep it as a part file. So once I've got that saved, do you want to replace it? Sure. Okay, so from here I basically start next to the little home icon, the little sheet of paper, and the little drop down says make new drawing from part or assembly. Right, because that's what I want to do. Click OK, and I want to choose B size paper, and click OK. Now, with this particular drawing, I really only have 2 views. Okay, that's necessary for me to describe the part. So my traditional top view, not necessarily a top view, it's more of a side view. Okay, my front view is the most descriptive, and so that's what I'm going to use. So I'm going to pull out my front view. I'm going to place it here. I'm going to let go of my mouse, and I'm going to create an isometric view by going up on a 45-degree angle. I'm going to left click and right click right away. Okay, so that kind of completes my projection tool. And then I'm going to left click and drag my isometric view over into the corner. And I'm going to move my front view, which will actually become my top view, and move it up a little bit towards the top of the page. Okay. I see these little blue origin dots on mine. You may or may not have that. So I'm just going to go over to my little visibility status and turn off my view origins. Okay. As far as creating that section view, all right, in your properties or in your layout, up in the ribbon, change to view layout. And then here you've got options to create a section view. Okay, also a remove section, a detail view, broken out section, a break view, and cropped view. All options, pretty self-explanatory. Okay, especially with everything that you guys done in AutoCAD, this should be no problem. But basically, section view, select it. Okay, my cutting plane line, it gives me options. Do I want it vertical, horizontal, on an angle, or maybe offset or aligned? So I'm going to click on horizontal. Okay, and basically I get to go into the view here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick the center of this hole, so that I'm sure that I'm lined up properly. I'm going to left click. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and green check this. And then I'm going to slide it down. Okay, slide it down, left click to place. And then I have options, right? In my properties on the side here, I can flip direction. Okay, if I flip direction of the arrows, you'll notice that my section view also flips direction. So that automatically takes care of that portion of it, right? I can change the label. Instead of AA, I can make it BB. There's all other options that I can do for the section view. I can make it a partial section. I can slice the section. I can create hatch. I can scale the hatching. All various options. All right. Basically, that's all there is to it. All right, I'm going to green check my section view, say that it's complete, and then it comes down to annotating this. Okay, there's a couple of things for annotation when you go into the Smart Dimension tool. For instance, the bolt circle. Okay, the bolt circle 0.06, that's not right. Okay, so that tells me, I'm going to delete this. That tells me I have to just confirm my inch pound seconds. There we go. So now I have a radius of 0.225. Well, this isn't really a radius, it's a diameter, isn't it? So in this case, we have to change this from radius to diameter. Best way to do that is to right-click on your dimension. Sorry, right-click on the dimension. And no, that's not it. Do I have to be out of Smart Dimension? Probably. Hit escape. There we go. Right click on your dimension. So again, make sure you're out of Smart Dimension. Okay. Go to Display Options, Display as Diameter. And then that will change your radial dimension to a diameter dimension. And you can probably do the same thing on the other side. As far as creating the multiples, right? If I pull out, sorry, hit escape, Smart Dimension. If I pull out this dimension for my diameter, okay, it doesn't really give me 12 times. All right, so the way you add 12 times is with the text selected, go down into the dimension box on the left-hand side in the properties, and before the caret, okay, before the caret, you're going to place your cursor and you're going to type in manually 12x space. And that's all there is to it. Green check your dimension. Okay, now obviously this is the wrong standard. So again, to change your standard, go up to the gear. Second tab, Document Properties. And I'm just going to switch over to ISO and repeat, switch back to ANSI and hit OK. And then it reconforms to the ANSI standard. Okay, make sure I move my arrows back. Change this a little bit so it's not on the center line. And the rest is automatically taken care of for you. Okay. There are ways to place automatic dimensions. However, it's pretty sloppy. Okay, I'm not a big fan of it, but it is possible to do. So for instance, if you want to play with it, not for this drawing maybe, but maybe for another drawing, what you can do is you can go up next to the SolidWorks icon. Hit this little arrow. Go to Insert, Model Items. Okay, this is one way to do this. And what you can do is you can select your source, selected features, or the entire model. And you can say, I want items that were marked for dimensioning as well as not marked for dimensioning. And use the dimensions placed in sketches. Okay. And if you click your green check, no model item was inserted, choose yes to change import from option to entire model and try it again. Okay, that's not a problem. So basically what happens is it imports all of those sketches or all the dimensions that we placed from sketch. But you can see it's pretty ugly. Okay. You then have to kind of drag these out a little bit. Some of these will be repeats. This is why I prefer to do dimensioning manually, because this is pretty ugly. But it is possible to basically pull your dimensions from your model. That. So, and you can see what's possible, what's not possible, what you need to keep, um, what you can modify, what you you know, where things kind of need to be. The only neat thing about using the dimensions from your model is that it's actually pretty easy to make changes to both your model and your drawing. Again, as long as your drawing is open and your model is open, okay, I can make changes to it. So if I wanted to make changes to, let's say, this diameter, okay, this 1/4 inch diameter, because it comes from the sketch, I can actually double click on it here in, I'm going to call it paper space, okay, but in the drawing, and I can change the diameter to 0.15. Now when I hit enter, you'll notice that the bounding box changes to having this hatch pattern. That means that the view needs to be updated. Okay, so I changed the dimension, but the view is not updated. So what I have to do is I have to rebuild and watch what happens to the circles when I rebuild. Rebuild is up here, this little stoplight, and it automatically changes the pattern for that. Okay, this is only because it is pulling the dimension from the model, from the sketch. Okay, I'm going to change this back to 0.25. Again, it wants me to rebuild. That's what that hatching means. I rebuild, and it changes. If I tried using Smart Dimension, okay, I use the Smart Dimension for that, and if I double click, nothing happens. That's because I'm not directly affecting the model. Okay, in order to change this dimension, I'd have to change it in my model. I'd have to change it here and then save it, and then it would update. Okay, so if I were to do that, I'd go into the sketch, edit the sketch, go in here, change this to 0.15, exit the sketch, save my drawing, or save my model, then I'd go into the drawing, and it says, oh, look, we're updating. And now both of these actually change. Notice that one is kind of gray, the other one is black. The black one is directly related to the sketch. The gray one is the ones that I place manually. Okay, so there is a difference. So I'm going to change this back using the one from the sketch. Rebuild. I'm good to go here. Let's take a look at the model now. The model updates itself, and I'm going to hit save to make sure that I'm saving that. Okay, and that's one way that you can have this connection between model and drawing. But as you can see, if you try to use the dimensions from the model, I will not accept this because this is not dimensioned to proper standards. Okay, so you kind of have to be a little bit picky and choosy as to what dimensions you pull from the model, what you keep, yeah. Ian, question.
How did you change it to ANSI standards again?
ANSI standards, check out the video. All right, and that's it.